Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here, and we just had so much fun yesterday getting those stars kicked off with Melissa for her spooky sampler sew along. This is my test one that I used my Bonnie Lane gray, and I switched out the different purple that I'm doing for the sampler. Here is one of the purples used in one of the other stars, and then I did the little girl block. It's a little bit lighter gray, so it has a little pop in the center. Now I think I will put this purple again around the outside for a pillow. So this will be a pillow to go along with the sampler quilt. All right, today on our calendar it says Scrap-a-Licious. So I'm going to, instead of talking about how, I'm going to show you what I ended up doing with those bindings and where that status is. But I also thought it'd be fun to go and get another bag out of this leftover, this whole thing of leftover blocks where I sorted them by color. I thought I'd pull out a color here. This is kind of a summery group, and I know some of these blocks are a couple of the Be My Neighbor blocks that I was doing in fig tree fabric, and then didn't do them anymore. So I have them here. So this is probably got a little bit more than I want to put up there all at once, but I am going to just put them up and we'll just see what we have. If I can get this cord here. Okay, so I will just put up on the wall some of these, maybe not all of them, but they're in these sort of summery colors. Like this one, the block was from the flower bouquet that we did one of our block Wednesdays. And so when I'm first analyzing what I have, I just want to get blocks up there. Here's a pineapple block, also done with a fig tree fabric that I was testing out. I think the pineapple papers, maybe. I was doing a little test. You know, because when I've got big blocks, I want them to be sort of all around the piece. And then there's a lot of little blocks that'll just go somewhere else. Now this was from Merry and Bright, and I did a test block with these colors, which I did not use in the quilt. These were part of that fabric line, and I didn't use them. And they're not summery, but they are cooking. Okay, like, oh, here's another. This is a house block from one of the Sew Sampler. The Sew Sampler had houses, and that's a block from that. And I think I did a couple of those, and then I was like, oh, I had a lot of other things going on. So there's another one. So I actually have quite a lot of blocks in these sort of these colors. Another one from the flower bouquet these were like test blocks. You know, I tried it, and that one didn't make it in the quilt. And then here's a kitty, just a gray kitty. So I think the gray works on this. Now that gray could work in a lot of things because I have a fall grouping. And so that gray could go there, but it's on the white. So that, oh, we'll put it here. Here's a couple of tulip tops, you know, from my tulips from the Celebrations book. Now those could get, like, I could build out the stems. I think they would be kind of neat, like next to the houses. So I would build stems to go with them, with leaves. And then in this bag, I have one more a little bit bigger. What is this one? Oh, this was a test block I did of the pocket for the pocket block for the old school, but that's a test one. Well, okay, so I got a lot of this. Will make a great lap quilt. There's tons of blocks here. So now I have like this whole unit, like this whole stack. See, they're like half square triangles. They're just lots of half square triangles, and so I keep those and put them in by the color. More half square triangles, bigger half square triangles. They're all half square triangles. There's a quarter square triangle like we did yesterday. So that was probably used, yeah, I think it was maybe a sample one for that guy. So like these blocks could just, you know, they would go up and around in here, but included in all of those I have a hexie. So I could just put the hexie over there, and I have a square and a square. And then I know this was from the childhood games. That was from the childhood games sew along. And where did I just see another cute one? Look, this was just a sample I made with little cutoffs. Look how sweet that is. Oh my gosh, the little baby pineapple. So now I've got like all of those smaller blocks, and I would definitely for this, put him there for now. I would definitely make stems for these two guys, like maybe a long stem here, and then maybe take him up just a little bit. And it's actually kind of a fun, I mean, the format's pretty fun. These, I didn't show you up close, but these were from Be My Neighbor. And I know, Be My Neighbor is a free sew along on my site, and I have probably one row left of the Christmassy ones or the wintry ones with the black polka dots. And these were two that I did with the fig tree fabrics, and I love them. And I want to reboot that, but I've got other things. So it's still towards the end of the year, into next year is what I'm thinking. End of this year into next year for Be My Neighbor, and then I will finish mine. Maybe I'll make another one with some other colors. I have a bunch of other fig tree, but I sort of like these. They look really nice. They look very summery up there. Putting all these blocks together would be very cool. Okay, that was fun. So that's what I call, in a way, scraps. That's working with your scraps. It's scrap blocks. They're full blocks that you made to test something, or the colors didn't work with the color scheme, and so you keep them. And if you group them by color like this, then you have a pretty nice variety that will go together. And they don't even have to have come from the same project. I mean, these are from a lot of different projects. Okay, what did I do with the bindings? Let me first show you the drawer. So I did do some work with the bindings. Those are the place where the tubs are that I showed you. These are all 2.5-inch squares, those ones. So in here, this had been all filled with binding. So I took a bunch of them out, but I left some. I was like, wow, these are long ones. There's quite a bit there, and there's stripes and dots. Maybe like this is enough for a whole quilt. So I'm like, and then over here I have some that I marked for, this is actually for a project, but I think I remade the binding, so now I have it twice. And then here's another one. There were some stripes, and like, I know this is for a project, that's orange stripe. Dots. So now here, okay, so I have those three still with binding, which is probably way too much, but I got it down some. And then in here are the little crumbs. So see, I have hardly any right now because I've got a bunch of the bigger units. But as I get little pieces, I'm throwing them in there so those can make just regular crumb blocks. So this is still not as good as it can be, but I made some progress. Okay, so here are the tubs. Let me just get that light out of there. Okay, so here are these two tubs that I did then. So I took bindings and strips, because I also had strips. So I took bindings and strips and sorted them by colors, sort of. Not major colors, but these are mostly light. I don't consider that light anymore. I don't know why that's in there. Okay, so these are mostly all the lights, because that block that I'm doing from the old school, which is sort of the lattice work, I'm using a light and then a darker. And so these are all the darker, and they're not necessarily by color, but I do think I have a lot of blue on this one side I tried to keep. I mean, somebody showed us wonderful. They went and put dividers in their things and laid everything out super neat, and it looked wonderful. You know, that's a way to go if you really are using this as sort of your primary way of quilting, to keep it really tidy. For me, these two shoe boxes are going to be enough. You know, I do not want to get them full, so they'll have to make stuff with them once they get to this. You know, even now, you know, like I know I'm going to make more of these to go on the back of the red, white, and blue squares. So the red, white, and blue squares there, I'm going to do that pinks, reds, with the white alternating. So that is the plan. And then the top over here I have not addressed at all. It's like this top of this basket here. It's just you know, here we'll get the thing down here. There we go. So I've just got it piled in here. These are already kind of, whoops, there we go. This grouping is already in strips, but this is just a stack. So I don't want it to get any bigger than this. When I sorted everything out, I got most of it into these 2 shoe boxes and then added the bindings that I put in. But this stack here is definitely, needs addressed. So I either have to cut it into squares or cut it into some squares, some strips, something like that. And speaking of Scrap-a-Licious squares, for the red, white, and blue, I am running out of navy at the moment that's already been cut up. The problem is I have some stacks of like the same, like for some reason, well, Morrison Park, I had a bunch of this that I cut up. And I need the variety to get that across motion in the quilt. I don't want a whole bunch of them as, just one fabric. So I may have to cut some more navy squares. I don't really want to. I'm hoping to sort of go through it and really try to get it sewn down, so it's sewn up so that the stack goes down. It's pretty low at the moment. The navy is pretty low. But I also am not going to sew those blocks yet because the variety, if I get a couple of these towards the end here that have a lot of the same fabrics, if I have not sewn all this the next size blocks together, I can rearrange them and get them moving across the quilt so that they're not close to each other. So if I have a couple of them that have several of this in it, I don't want to put them right next to each other where your eye is going to start seeing that repeat pattern. Instead, I'll move them away from each other. That's the plan anyways. I want to show you a few of our summer soiree blocks from block 3. So I'm going to pop the pictures up here and I'll tell you who they're from. We have from the Fat Quarter Shop, which is using the Kitty Halloween fabric. It's so cute, so cute. It's darling. Then Debbie has shown hers. We have Donna's quilt. Let's see, Jackie's blocks. They're all blocks, I'm sorry. So Jackie's blocks, Karen's blocks. So I have all your names written down here, so I can be organized. Melinda, Pamela. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff out there now. There's tons of quilts. And I have 2 that are people doing a full quilt of a block. One is from Suzanne did a layout of block 3. So these were all block 3. So Suzanne did this layout on her electric quilt program and she colored it so you got that repeated coloration. And then Pamela did, then Becky did block number 2. She's sewn up. Here she has it, the layout, the bonus layout from block 2, and she has a little half square triangles that she cut off, and she's making them into little churn dashes, as you can see those at the bottom. They are fantastic. Yay to everybody. So tomorrow is block 4 of Summer Soiree. We are having a wonderful party. I just love hearing your stories about your parties. Last week was the invite, like who you would have at your party. So that was pretty fun. A lot of you have your family, which is awesome. All right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. See you online.